How to be so productive it feels illegal. What if I told you that the most productive people in the world aren't more disciplined than you? They simply know how to cheat the system. Sounds almost illegal, doesn't it? Yet the truth is, they've discovered hacks that let them bend time, eliminate distractions, and create results that seem impossible to ordinary eyes. While most struggle with ADHD, endless notifications, and the weight of bad habits, these men and women operate at a level of focus so sharp it feels unfair. Here's the paradox. You've been taught that success comes from working harder, longer, with iron discipline. But what if that belief has been holding you back? What if productivity isn't about more hours or more effort, but about designing your environment, your routines, and your energy so that focus happens naturally, without force? That's why CEOs, creators, and leaders who master this game seem unstoppable. They've hacked their brains, and you can too. And today, I'll walk you through 10 powerful strategies, hacks that anyone can use to break free from distractions, manage energy like a weapon, and find flow on command. By the end, you'll see that focus isn't a fight, it's a system. And once you learn it, productivity will feel so powerful, so effortless, that you might wonder if you're playing by the same rules as everyone else. Make a not-to-do list. Many believe productivity is conquered through sheer discipline and brute force. But the wise understand, true power lies in using the right filter, not in wrestling with the mind. When you learn to say no to low-value tasks, bad habits, and the vices that drain your energy, you create room for what truly matters. It's like pruning a tree, cutting the dead branches so all the sap can flow to the strongest fruits. Picture someone who keeps a not-to-do list pinned to the wall. Instead of stuffing their calendar with multitasking and endless distractions, they deliberately avoid what steals their focus. Think of the colleague who complains non-stop, a vampire of energy, or the habit of opening your email the moment you wake up, before even tasting the freshness of the morning. Small refusals become silent victories, stacking up like invisible bricks that build unshakable focus. Here's the paradox. This negative list doesn't imprison you, it frees you. It removes the burden of daily micro-decisions and hands back clarity. It's like playing a game of Plinko, but removing the pins that scatter the ball. Suddenly, the path to the center is direct, clean, and frictionless. And when subtraction becomes your strategy, productivity doesn't grow by addition. It multiplies through absence. Which leads us to a fascinating question. How can we transform these simple choices into powerful focus triggers that pull us straight into flow state? Create focus triggers. Most people wait for inspiration to strike, hoping that focus will randomly appear like lightning from the sky. But mastery is never random, it's designed. The most productive minds build focus triggers into their daily lives. A specific chair, a particular room, or even the sound of binaural beats can become anchors that guide the brain straight into flow state. It's not magic, it's architecture for the mind. Think of athletes before a big game. They stretch the same way, listen to the same playlist, follow the same routine. Why? Because repetition signals to the body and mind, it's time to perform. In the same way, when you light a candle before deep work, or play the same instrumental track every morning, you train your brain to step into focus on command. These rituals become invisible switches that turn chaos into clarity. And here's the beauty. Once you master your triggers, distractions lose their grip. The world may throw noise, notifications, and interruptions at you, but your mind learns to lock in. Just imagine, a routine so sharp, a rhythm so strong, that stepping into focus feels as natural as breathing. But this leads us to a deeper challenge. If we want to elevate our focus even further, perhaps it's not about starting easy, but daring to begin on hard mode. Start on hard mode. Most people begin their day searching for easy wins, believing momentum comes from checking off the smallest boxes first. But here's the truth. Starting easy is like eating dessert before the main course. It might feel good for a moment, but it robs you of the nourishment you truly need. The great achievers, the CEOs who shape industries, they know that discipline and productivity are forged in the fire of the hardest task. They don't tiptoe around it, they attack it head-on. Picture waking up in the morning and facing the one thing that matters most. For some, it's writing the book that's been sitting on the shelf of their mind for years. For others, it's launching the marketing campaign that could transform their business. Whatever it is, when you do it first, before email, before social media, before distractions creep in, you anchor the entire day in victory. That's deep work in its purest form, and it builds a confidence no small task can match. The paradox? The hardest part isn't the task itself, it's breaking the habit of choosing what's easy. But when you learn to start on hard mode, you train your will like a muscle and your focus like a blade. Suddenly, procrastination loses its power and progress accelerates. And once the morning is conquered, everything else feels lighter. Yet there's a hidden key to protecting this sacred energy, making yourself harder to reach, so the world doesn't steal the focus you've fought so hard to create. Be hard to reach. The greatest enemy of focus isn't laziness, it's accessibility. Most people make themselves too easy to interrupt, leaving the door wide open for distractions, notifications, and endless requests. But the most productive know the secret: to be visible, but not always reachable. Their inbox is not a public to-do list for other people's priorities. Their phone doesn't buzz at every whim of the world. Instead, they guard their attention like a fortress. Imagine this. You retreat to a quiet cabin in the mountains, no Wi-Fi, no buzzing phone, no one pulling at your time. Hours stretch into days, and suddenly you realize just how much deep work you're capable of when distractions vanish. But you don't need a cabin to achieve this. You can start by turning off all notifications, setting strict reply windows for emails, and giving only a few trusted people unrestricted access. Even small changes, like using headphones as a signal, "Do not disturb," can reclaim hours of stolen focus. This isn't about ignoring the world. It's about training it to respect your flow. When you create boundaries, you send a powerful message. My energy is precious. My time is intentional. And the reward? Hours that multiply into progress, days that compound into mastery. But here lies the twist. Even with barriers in place, sometimes focus needs an extra spark. The question then becomes, how do we turn up the pressure so the fire of urgency keeps us moving forward? Turn up the pressure. When the deadline is far away, the mind drifts. We wander, we delay, we allow distractions to creep in. But when the clock is ticking and the stakes are high, something awakens inside us. A sharpness, a fire, a clarity that turns hesitation into unstoppable movement. This is the power of pressure. The most productive people don't wait for it to arrive by chance. They design it into their lives. Think about Parkinson's law. Work expands to the time you allow for it. Give yourself 3 months to finish a project, and it will consume 3 months. Give yourself 3 days, and you'll cut through procrastination like a knife. Shorter deadlines force creativity, eliminate fluff, and bring out a version of you that doesn't waste a second. And when you raise the stakes, when failure carries real consequences, you create conditions where excuses cannot survive. Consider the entrepreneur who publicly announces a launch date, or the friend who bets money on hitting a fitness goal. The fear of loss becomes fuel for action. Stakes create urgency. Urgency sharpens focus, and focus drives results. It's not about living in constant stress. It's about learning to wield pressure as a tool, a weapon against distraction. But pressure alone is not enough. To truly master productivity, we must also train the hidden force guiding us every day, the algorithm shaping our thoughts, our feeds, and even our future. Train your algorithm. Every day, a silent battle unfolds on your phone. Billion-dollar companies hire armies of psychologists and engineers to design one thing: distraction. They test the color of notification dots, the wording of alerts, the timing of reminders, all to pull you back into their apps. But here's the secret. The same algorithm designed to steal your focus can be trained to serve your growth if you take control. Imagine opening your social media and instead of gossip, noise, and wasted hours, your feed is filled with knowledge, business strategies, fitness hacks, stories of discipline, lessons in leadership. This doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you deliberately search, like, and comment on content that feeds your mind. Every click teaches the algorithm what you value. Every unfollow or mute removes a vampire of energy from your digital world. Slowly, your feed transforms into a classroom, not a circus. But the real magic happens when you integrate what you learn. Don't just consume. Teach, share, apply. When you explain an idea to someone else, it roots deeper into your own mind. The algorithm becomes your ally, reinforcing progress instead of sabotaging it. And once your digital environment is aligned with your vision, you unlock a new level of focus. Yet the question remains, how do we expand this discipline beyond daily scrolling into the very architecture of our lives? The answer lies in designing your perfect week. Design your perfect week. Multitasking may feel productive, but in reality, it's like trying to juggle knives while blindfolded. You drop more than you carry. The mind loses 23 minutes on average every time it shifts from one distraction to another. That's why the most effective leaders don't rely on chance. They design their week with precision. They know that productivity isn't about doing more, but about structuring time around what matters most. Think of your week like a puzzle. First, place the big rocks, non-negotiables like workouts, date nights, strategy meetings, and family time. Then, theme your days. Monday for marketing, Tuesday for sales, Wednesday for strategy. When you batch similar tasks, like recording content or handling emails, you reduce the mental friction of switching gears. Suddenly, your calendar isn't chaos, it's choreography. But the true breakthrough comes when you plan not just by time, but by energy. Do the heavy thinking in the morning when your mind is sharp. Reserve afternoons for collaborative work and leave evenings for recovery and connection. This rhythm builds momentum that carries from one day to the next. And when you can see your life flowing in harmony, distractions lose their grip. Yet there's still a hidden layer to sustaining focus, transforming invisible progress into something tangible and motivating. That's where jiffying your work becomes the next secret weapon. Jiffy your work. Video games captivate us for a reason. They make progress visible. Each level unlocked, each streak continued, each milestone achieved sparks a rush of energy. Life, however, often hides progress in invisible layers, leaving us blind to how far we've come. That's why the masters of productivity don't just work, they jiffy their work. They create systems that turn invisible effort into visible wins. Imagine tracking streaks. 10 sales calls a day, 5 days in a row, then 10, then 20. Suddenly, your progress isn't abstract, it's concrete. Add milestones, a new watch when you hit a revenue goal, a trip when you complete a project. Rewards transform discipline into a game worth playing. And when you add visual cues, charts on your wall, trackers on your desk, you create daily reminders that progress is real, not imagined. But perhaps the most powerful accelerator is collaboration. When you involve others, friends, teammates, even family, you add accountability and shared momentum. You'll fight harder for progress when others are walking the journey with you. And in that shared pursuit, focus deepens. Yet sustaining this energy requires more than gamification. It demands mastering the very fuel that powers every action you take, your energy itself. Manage your energy. Energy isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you create. The body is the engine, the mind the driver, and habits are the fuel. That's why the most productive people start their mornings with proactive energy boosts. Movement, reading, planning, routines designed to prime the mind for deep work. Exhaust the body, tame the mind. When you control your energy, you control your focus. Picture this. Instead of dragging yourself out of bed and scrolling through emails, you wake up to a prepared workout outfit, ready to move. You sweat, you breathe, you feel alive. Then, with your energy elevated, you dive into strategy work, writing, or creative projects. That's proactive energy. But when the day wears you down, there's also reactive energy. Quick resets like push-ups between meetings, walking calls, or even scooter meetings that bring movement back into the equation. Most people think fatigue is a prison, but in truth, energy can be reset in minutes. A burst of movement, a change of environment, even a shift in breathing can restore clarity. The real secret is remembering that energy is a choice, one that can be designed into every day. And when energy is mastered, the next frontier emerges, flow, the state where time dissolves and productivity feels limitless. Find your flow. For years, many people believe they are broken, too distracted, too restless, maybe even trapped by ADHD. But the truth is, they are not broken. They simply haven't discovered the rhythm that works for them. Flow is not a gift reserved for a chosen few. It's a state anyone can cultivate. And when you find it, productivity stops being a struggle. It becomes natural, effortless, almost inevitable. Think of flow as your personal harmony between challenge and skill. Some find it in writing before sunrise, others in problem-solving late at night. The key is reflection, journaling what fuels you, what drains you, what routines pull you deeper into focus. Iteration becomes your greatest ally. What once gave you energy may no longer serve you today, and that's okay. You're allowed to adapt, evolve, and reinvent your system as life shifts. The journey toward flow is deeply personal. It's about trying on new habits like clothes, keeping what fits and discarding what doesn't. There is no single formula, only experiments, insights, and progress. But here lies the great secret. When you master energy, focus, and flow together, your dreams no longer feel distant. They stand right before you, waiting for your hand. And the real question is, what would your life look like if productivity itself felt almost illegal? Now, after walking through these 10 hacks, the question is no longer if you can be productive. It's whether you'll choose to step into that version of yourself. Will you keep letting distractions, bad habits, and energy vampires steal your time? Or will you finally take control, design your routine, and unlock the focus that makes your life unstoppable? Ask yourself, what would change if you started tomorrow with clarity, with a not-to-do list guarding your focus, with energy flowing through your body, and a week designed for progress instead of chaos? How different would your business, your health, your relationships look if you applied even half of what you just learned? Productivity isn't about doing more. It's about living better, creating momentum, and refusing to waste another moment. So here's my challenge. Don't just listen, act. Try one hack today. Track your progress, build your streaks, and watch your milestones pile up. And if this message spoke to you, subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications, and keep walking with me on this journey. Because this is just the beginning. Your flow, your power, your future is waiting. The only question is, will you claim it?